Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is delightful to see such a large turnout of folks interested in the work of the committee. I would ask folks to, for a couple of reasons, obviously it's a crowded room, so to the extent you can hold down conversations, that would be appreciated, so folks in here can hear each other and listen to the testimony, but also because right next door, the Judiciary Committee is meeting, and we want to be respectful of their ability to do their business as well. So we are here, again, this is the Labor and Workforce Committee. For those of you who might be looking for something else, please leave. Otherwise we're delighted to have you. I will ask the committee members to introduce themselves, and then we will start taking testimony, starting with
Jerry Cassidy, State Rep from Brockton.
Jim Hawkins, State Rep from Attleboro.
Stephen Hayes, State Rep from Fitchburg.
I'm Paul Broder.
Pat Dillon.
David Robertson, Tewksbury, Wilmington.
So we do have a full agenda, as folks who have been here before may know. We very often take legislators and electeds out of turn to accommodate their schedules, and today will be no exception. I am delighted to welcome back to the State House and to the House of Representatives in particular, and to this hearing the former rep from Dorchester, and also happens to be the mayor of the great city of Boston. Marty Walsh is here to kick us off. Mr. Mayor. Joined by one of our outstanding members, also from the city of Boston, the great neighborhood of Jamaica Plain, Liz Malia.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, and Madam Chair, thank you very much, and to the members of the committee, and through you to the members, thank you very much for having us today. For the record, my name is Martin Walsh. I'm the mayor of the city of Boston. Before I actually testify on House Bill 1660, I'd like to offer my support to many of the people in this room for House Bill 1596 and Senate Bill 1043, an act relative to collective bargaining dues. And I know that at the end of last session, the bill was almost resolved, almost done, but I'd asked the committee to put this out favorably and get it to the floor so we can move this, get this issue behind us. So thank you for that. I'm also here to testify today on House Bill 1660, an act promoting pay transparency and pipeline advancement. I'm honored to join the sponsor of this bill, my dear friend Representative Liz Malia of Boston, and Dr. Lee Pelton, from president of Emerson College. Early this month, we marked Equal Pay Day. This is a date that women have to work to if they are to match their male counterparts in previous years, something that we talk an awful lot about. For the average woman to get the same pay as a man, they have to work 3 extra months of work. The situation is even more unfair for women of color. Black women have to work until about August 22nd of the second year, and Latinas until November 20th of the second year to match what white men's earnings are in the previous year. And I know that we certainly in Boston, we cannot accept inequality in Boston or in the Commonwealth, and we want to eliminate the need for Equity Pay Day. I've been sat in your seats for 16 years. I've sat as the mayor of Boston now for 5 years. There's been several pieces of legislation filed over the years about equal pay for equal work, and it's time that we continue to not just talk about it and pass legislation, but take some action. In the city of Boston, we're focused on goals. We've grown the 100% Talent Compact, which is 250 employers who pledge to close the gender wage gap. What they do is they give us information anonymously, where we can take that information and do an analysis of exactly what those companies look like in the city of Boston. And we've trained thousands of women to claim their worth in what's called salary negotiation workshops, where we literally sit down and explain to women on how to negotiate a salary. Many of the folks that are in this room today, ironically, are leaders of their unions. In the unions that are behind me, a woman and a man gets paid equal pay for equal work, but there's still a large portion of our society where they're not unionized employees, and women will get offered a job and take it for less money, and men will negotiate a higher salary, so we're working to train women. Massachusetts certainly has been a leader on this issue. I'm proud, and I was proud to support the Massachusetts Equal Pay Act, and I want to thank the legislature for the efforts in passing that piece of legislation. It was one in a series of steps in the right direction. But we cannot be complacent. In addition to ending discrimination in the workplace, we need more women to enter decision-making positions. Women are still underrepresented in leadership roles across all kinds of different organizations. Leadership positions not only offer higher pay, they enable women to shape the workplace cultures, and they work better for everyone, and it works better for everyone with a diverse workforce. In a competitive global economy, we cannot afford to limit our talents and perspectives any longer. That's why I believe this bill is the right piece of legislation to follow up on achievements of Massachusetts Equal Pay Act. This bill can get us to the next level for the fight for equal pay and equal representation. To empower women to move up their careers, transparency is very key to this because we know it allows women to know where they stand. If organizations report the gender and race of employees holding leadership positions, then women and people of color will be able to make informed decisions about which organizations can provide them with the opportunities. This will give employers an incentive to improve their culture and adapt to the needs of working women. We cannot keep asking women and people of color to fit into a mold that was designed when they were not fully included in the workforce. Our employers need to be focused on creating welcoming environments for all. Transparency is already at practice in City Hall in Boston. We publish our workforce demographics and pay data in an online diversity dashboard. Anyone can get that dashboard any time of day. Employees know where they stand, and it's all of us are better off because of that open information. This legislation would also establish a fund to provide professional development for employees in companies where disparities are the highest. This would help them improve their employer rating. This component is important because we all have worked together to achieve real cultural change. Everyone in this situation has a role to play. In Boston, we are determined to be a city of opportunity for everyone, a city where everyone's talents are recognized, rewarded, and fairly compensated. We know that the entire Commonwealth shares that same aspiration, and we know these values are a competitive advantage for our city and our state. The Pay Transparency and Pipeline Advancement Bill will help us get closer to achieving these goals. We don't want to have to recognize any more equal pay days. That's something that was in the past, and it was great to have them when we needed them, but we don't need them anymore because we don't accept that women must work more to get the same equal pay, and we're not going to stand for that anymore in the city or in the Commonwealth. So let us work together to take down the barriers women are facing in the workplace. Massachusetts has an obligation to do right by women and an opportunity to strengthen the workforce. I want to thank you for the opportunity to testify on this important piece of legislation. I respectfully urge this committee to continue to treat House 1160 as a priority and move this bill favorably out of committee. And also, in Massachusetts, we're groundbreaking. So we can continue to be groundbreaking with this piece of legislation and set a tone for the rest of the country that we respect the people, all people in our Commonwealth. And now I'd like to turn the floor over to my friend and Chairwoman Malia.
I'm going to defer to President Lee Pelton from Emerson University.
Thank you. We're not quite Emerson University yet. We're still Emerson College, but nevertheless, yeah, we're happy where we are. But thank you for inviting me to submit testimony in support of the pay transparency and pipeline advancement in our Commonwealth. As president of Emerson College, a Massachusetts-based school with campuses in Boston and Los Angeles, the Netherlands, and Paris, that is internationally known for educating the next generation of leaders in the arts, communication, and the liberal arts. And as an employer of approximately 1,500 workers in the city of Boston, I am here today to express my support, my happy support for the Massachusetts Pay Transparency and Pipeline Advancement Act. The vision behind this act to advance gender and racial parity at our businesses and our institutions is one that I strongly support and one that I hope my fellow presidents in the Commonwealth support. You know, recently Emerson College participated in a study conducted by the EOS Foundation, which brought attention to a gender power gap at colleges and universities in Massachusetts. The data was eye-opening. Even in our progressive Commonwealth, not a single one of our 17 large universities has a woman board chair. And at 26 schools, women make up less than 1/3 of board members. And 32 schools have never had a woman president. Emerson College, where I serve as president, fared fairly well, though not well enough to be included in the top tier of rankings. My predecessor, Emerson's first female president, served for 18 years. The provost and executive vice president are women. 2 of our 4 deans are women, and 8 out of the 12 members of the president's cabinet are women, and almost 1/3 of our board of trustees are women. And while we have not reached statistical parity, I am proud of what we have achieved and believe that public disclosure of what we have achieved and what we hope to achieve might serve as a clarion call to inspire other like-minded institutions of higher learning to close the gender power gap. As a result of this study, in March of this year, Emerson College and the EOS Foundation co-hosted a summit that gathered the presidents and senior leaders of some 40 Massachusetts colleges and universities to outline next steps for improving gender equity in our institutions. And while the study and summit are an important move for higher education, employers across all industries need to step up and commit to closing the gap that keeps women and people of color out of the top ranks of leadership. By requiring that employers disclose the race and gender ratios of employees in senior positions, the Pay, Transparency, and Pipeline Advancement Act will help shine a bright light on inequities that persist throughout the highest levels, hold our institutions accountable, and spur action to rectify these inequities. Who sits at the table matters, and changes the way organizations, businesses, and corporate boards behave. A study of corporate governance boards of leading American companies, publicly traded companies, demonstrate that boards with female CEOs or board chairs have a higher percentage of women on their boards and in their highest administrative ranks, executive ranks. Change is a three-legged stool. It's leadership, it's strategy or a clear sense of purpose, and its resources. And all 3 must be in play at the same time, or that stool will topple over. The Massachusetts Pay, Transparency, and Pipeline Advancement Act is a 3-legged stool. It has a clear focus and a strategy to meet specific ends. It has, or will have, I hope, the right leadership in the legislative and executive branches of the Commonwealth and the city of Boston. And the bill also commits resources to incentivize and to sustain systemic change. This is not just the right thing to do, it is the smart thing to do. The first leadership benefits everyone. We know that organizations are more innovative, nimble, and better equipped to solve pressing problems when their leaders bring a multiple of backgrounds, viewpoints, experiences, and perspectives to the workplace. And by establishing a Pipeline Promotional Opportunities Fund, this act will help employers provide professional development and coaching opportunities to advance women and talent of color into the highest ranks. To maintain and advance our competitive advantage in this global Commonwealth, Massachusetts must invest in promoting a diverse pipeline of leaders who will take our businesses and institutions to the next level of greatness. And when more women and people of color see themselves reflected in their leadership, when a world of opportunity that was previously invisible to them is made visible, the possibilities for what we can all achieve becomes limitless. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Representative Malia.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Mr. Chairman, and members of the committee, of which I am a proud but not always as active member, but I will be able to, I will be able to, now that our budget is, we hope, finished, spend some more time, because I think this is probably one of the most important committees that are really starting to move us forward in Massachusetts. And as I say that because I'm a former member and learned a lot that I know from being a member of a healthcare workers union, the old 1199 in Massachusetts. And I'm very proud and happy to be here with my mayor, and who has been an incredible union supporter, and a lot of the folks in this room. I think the basic piece, I don't have a lot new to add to this, but the basic piece that's important to me in House 1660 is the fact that we can begin, with this legislation, we can begin to put the people where the jobs are. And basically, what we're starting out with is looking at who the people are and not what demographic group they come from, but looking at people in terms of what their skills are, what their potential is, and giving everyone a fair chance to get a fair job. The goal is to address that race and gender pay gap as much about women and people of color, but a lot of them not moving into senior positions, as it is about unequal pay. Examples of some of the types of jobs we don't always see very many women or people of color in: executive vice president, senior vice president, assistant vice president, manager, project manager, director, assistant director, chief officers. These are the types of jobs that very often are overlooked for placement, and I think, again, the conversation that we are having in this room today and the conversation we'll be able to have in the future will help us bring Massachusetts up to maybe, again, leading the way in the rest of the country. We did it in equal marriage, we did it with health care finance reform, and this would be an incredibly fine place to continue. So I think I appreciate your time and attention, and again, I encourage your support for House 1660.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative, and to the panel. Do any members of the committee have any questions? See none. Mr. Mayor, always a pleasure to see you. Mr. President, thank you. And we see you all the time.
This is true.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.